and have it consistent, it will be a monumental step towards improvement. Again, I remain hopeful and optimistic, and if they can pull it off, bravo to the government. Having a cashless payment on the network, again, very convenient, reduces the chances of, again, daytime robberies, which also seem to be plaguing the Cayman Islands. I haven't heard anybody robbing a taxi or bus lately, but it has happened in the past, and certainly moving towards cashless would also discourage would-be thieves and give commuters that added security that, hey, what are you going to do, take my plastic from me? Without my PIN, you're kind of stuck. The minister goes on to say, what we want to do is make sure that nobody is actually waiting longer than 15 minutes for a bus, no matter if you're in East End, North Side, West Bay, wherever you are, he said. We also want to look at how we get a bus transportation that runs not maybe 24/7, but at least late nights and early mornings, so individuals that need to work in East End at 4 o'clock in the morning can take the bus. Again, this would be a significant improvement to the public transportation system. Certainly there are cases where buses just simply stop. In many cases during the week at 10 o'clock, maybe 11 o'clock, nobody wants to work past those hours. And again, there are persons who live in town, persons who live in Boddentown that have to work in East End or North Side. They don't have a car. And with the absence of public transportation, it makes life very difficult. So if they can pull this one off, it would also be encouraging. Again, the benefit of taking the bus versus a taxi. I was just having this conversation with a commuter just this past week. And, you know, we were talking about the absolutely, criminal fees that taxi drivers charge, upwards of $100 from Georgetown to East End, whether you're going to Moritz or the Wyndham, which is just ridiculous. There should be a law. There should be someone, tracking this. And we always thought that taxi operators, were forced to oblige themselves to what was called the Black Book of Rules, their little Bible with rates and fares. But newsflash, nobody follows that. And again, nobody's enforcing it. So again, if they can pull off their plans, their phone app, their GPS tracking, and an app that will follow that all, this will be a huge step in the right direction. And if they can make it affordable, then yes, we might start to see some vast improvements as it relates to public transportation. It is the the first of many steps that will need to be taken to make public transportation more reliable and dependable, but the government seems committed to embark on that endeavor. The minister said that once budgets are decided, then government will know how much is available to spend and whether government subsidies or a public-private partnership will be needed to update the bus network. It is understood that some of the recommendations from the 2023 report from consultancy firm Deloitte, entitled Assessment of a Public Transport Strategy, are to be implemented. Now, see, this is where, again, I have a problem. The government, whether this government or the last government, and arguably they are one and the same, did not need to engage Deloitte. There were recommendations already on hand. There were works already had taken place by previous administrations, arguably by laymen, that we didn't go out and spend extra money from the taxpayers' purse. We just used a little bit of common sense, a little bit of, accepting the systems that exist, the gaps that obtain, and how we can work around them. Again, we weren't trying to reinvent the wheel. We were looking at other parts of the world and systems that have been working very well, particularly in the Caribbean. One of those places, Barbados, is supposed to have an excellent public transportation system, likewise Bermuda. So again, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can just look at places that have similar challenges and what they did to overcome them. But I see how the last administration, like every political administration, don't want to take the work that others did and build on those efforts. They need to, have their stamp of approval on anything to say, look what I did. But in the process, they spend unnecessary money. And I don't know how much we paid Deloitte to do a public transportation strategy, but I can guarantee you, as I say, Mr. George, how much you pay for the new guy? $20? No, too much. He no good. Too much money. We paid Deloitte too much money, unnecessary money, when we could have simply built on the recommendations that were already present. But again, we're not going to cry over spilt milk. We're not going to criticize overly too much on past administrations. And I guess we're just going to be excited that this is finally a step in the right direction. The good news is that we're making some progress. The bad news is, though, none of this is going to start to happen until next year. And, of course, the politicians don't put a date on it. So next year could be January, February, March, April, May, June, July, anytime before Christmas, I guess technically would be considered next year. But we, for one, will definitely be on it. And we will be reminding the government of the list. We've made a list of all the plans they have stated and gone public on that don't begin until next year. And, if others aren't minding the barn, well, somebody has to do it. And, yes, we volunteer ourselves. 50 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock. More good news, this time away from public transportation and politics to the National Gallery. And our good friend Natalie Urquhart and others. The National Gallery of the Cayman Islands, and we've talked about this before, but I'm glad to expand on it tonight is hosting a Story in Symbols, a landmark exhibition featuring works by Cayman-based artists spanning more than 3 decades. Curated by Arabella Stoker, the show is said to be a vibrant meditation on the symbolic crystallization of Caymanian identity. Say that one 3 times very quickly. The exhibition, which is on now and runs all the way through until the 3rd of September, which really doesn't leave a lot of time. As you know, we're at the end of August, the end of this week, and September's next week. So I would highly encourage you, if you have a chance, check it out this week. If you're too busy, again, school started on Monday for a lot of places and will continue to open throughout this week and next. Maybe something you want to do on the weekend, but definitely encourage you to check out the National Gallery and its latest exhibition, A Story in Symbols. The exhibit is said to be an exploration of Caymanian cultural iconography, symbols, and emblems. Stoker says it is posted in a posted curator statement. It considers the ways in which these integral motifs play a role in framing the Cayman Islands' national identity. Taking these familiar elements at a starting point, the exhibition unpacks them further, reflecting on the way in which they are woven into the fabric of Caymanian society. Very eclectic, if I might add. National emblems such as the banana orchid, silver thatch palm, and the Cayman parrot are reinterpreted through diverse media styles and personal narratives. Horatio Esteban's Cayman Catboat 2019 is just one of the many pieces on display and is sculpted in Caymanite, a rock found only in the Cayman Islands, and serves as the anchor for the exhibition in both material and meaning. The stone itself, as I mentioned, is unique to the Cayman Islands and embodies the permanence of tradition, while the form recalls the enduring legacy of seafaring life. A Story in Symbols is more than an art exhibition. It is a collective act of remembrance and reimagining. Through brushstrokes, sculpture, and collage, the featured artists invite us to see the Cayman Islands not just as a place, but as a living story. Wow, I tell you what, that's how you market an art exhibition. I got goosebumps, I really do. And I really want to check out this art exhibition. Again, I want to encourage as many persons within the sound of my voice to go out and give the National Gallery your support. Go out and support and celebrate the several Cayman-based artists whose works will be featured as part of the exhibition, which again runs through the 3rd of September. So not a lot of time left. Don't do it like we do everything else, Caymanians. Don't be soon come with it. You know, you got a few spare hours in an evening. Particularly if you work downtown, traffic is going to start to pick up. Who wants to get stuck in traffic? Take the kiddies, take them into the gallery, give them an education, and get one for yourself while you wait out the traffic jams. Check out the National Gallery. Support a story in symbols. Again, it sounds very exciting. I just want to send a shout out to Natalie Urquhart and Mia. I'm just losing your last name now all of a sudden. Yeah, you know what I mean, Mia. Yeah, I'm having a moment. I'm sorry for showing my age there. Oh, good Lord. Her father was with the CINCF. Oh, good Lord. Anyway, it'll come to me at some point in time, or it won't. But big shout outs to the National Gallery. Really, Mia, I love you. Don't take it personal. It's really just me getting old. I hate to admit it, but it is what it is. 55 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock is the time. Mia Mutu. That's the name. See, I told you I would get it. Just takes me a little while, but I got it. I still got it. The old ticker is still working upstairs. It really is. I don't know. It's kind of warm in here, too. I think the AC's broken. That might also be part of it. So 55 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock, giving us about 4 minutes before we have to pause and take a break. Again, want to remind you to definitely be a part of our discussion come 5 o'clock. We will be, much like the Story in Symbols exhibition at the National Gallery, we here at Straight Talk will be celebrating Caymanian talent, in this case, Caymanian filmmaking excellence, by featuring local filmmakers Asher Lopez and Badir as we highlight their new short movie, The Awesome Man, a superhero short film produced, filmed, written by, and starring Caymanians. I'm excited to learn about that. And, of course, that discussion kicks off in about maybe 10 minutes or so. So you definitely want to be here for that discussion. If you're trying to pick us up on social media, streaming in particular, I'm happy to note that we are now online and streaming live on both YouTube and Facebook. You can find us on Facebook with the key search word Straight Talk Radio Show. We are also streaming live on the ACT Cruise Tourism page. And as always, you can find us on YouTube as well. So we are finally online, and I was able to keep my word by ensuring that we got up and running before the 5 o'clock news. So thank you to my technical team. And also, I just picked up my WhatsApp, and I see, again, I always say, the single greatest asset available to me in this program are you, the listening audience. Somebody WhatsApped me at 4:55. Mutu was the last name, though I feel good about myself that I got it. But again, I'm grateful. If I didn't remember it, somebody was there to save me. So you know who you are. Thank you very much for reaching out and giving me a helping hand. 58 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock. Really no time for any more good news, though we have much more to talk about. But I guess we'll save those good news items for tomorrow. The phone lines will be closed for the first half hour. 745-2626 is the number. But coming up in about 6 minutes, we will begin our discussion on showcasing Caymanian talent as we feature Caymanian filmmakers Asher Lopez, Badir, and their new short film, Awesome Man, which again, apparently Mr. Lopez, Asher Lopez, started writing when he was 10 years old, if you can believe it. That discussion coming up next, and you could be a part of it by dialing 745-2626 or reaching out to us on our WhatsApp line, 928-2562. Keep it locked. There'll be more Straight Talk still to come right here on Bobo 103.1 FM.
Bobo.
The BBC's From Our Own Correspondent.
In today's Russia, no one is allowed anywhere near the political stage if they pose a serious challenge to Vladimir Putin.
Stories and reflections from our reporters around the world.
There is a major sense of insecurity here.
More people are coming in from Sudan every day.
From Our Own Correspondent from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM.
How can we understand the world better?
The BBC World Service is a window onto the wider world.
A vantage point from which to survey a new horizon.
News, reports, and analysis from around the world.
Stories we think matter.
Different people from different societies.
We get to the heart of global issues.
News, stories, and global perspectives from the BBC World Service.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM.
Welcome to our newsroom here in central London. We place ourselves here at a little desk right in the thick of things.
OS from the BBC.
We can catch the very latest news from our colleagues, not just in this enormous room, but also from our colleagues around the world.
I'm in the room where they're treating children.
This is a combat zone.
The situation after the typhoon is very complicated.
It was a very tense situation.
OS from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM. This is Bobo 103.1, powered by Health Services Authority.
At Health Services Authority, they are committed to caring for you. They are Cayman's largest and longest-standing healthcare provider, offering the most comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and public health services at 9 different locations across all 3 islands.
Across Cayman on 103.1 FM, online, and on your smart speaker. The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo 103.1.
BBC News with Sue Montgomery. Tens of thousands of Israeli protesters have rallied in a plaza in Tel Aviv, commonly referred to as Hostage Square, calling for the return of Israelis still held in Gaza. The rally followed a day of protests in which highways were blocked and crowds marched to the homes of government ministers. They surrounded the office of the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. This protester explained why.
We are here demonstrating in front of the cabinet, the government meeting that is supposed to discuss a deal for returning the hostages and end the fighting and the war. And we are here to remind our government that the deal needs to be sealed. All the hostages needs to come back home, and we need to stop the war in order to do this.
Israeli troops continued their push into Gaza City, shelling 3 eastern suburbs, as well as the town of Jabalia to the north. A popular market east of Gaza City was hit, killing and injuring a number of people. Earlier, the Israeli military issued what it called initial findings over Monday's strike in the Nasser hospital in southern Gaza. A Ukrainian military official has acknowledged that Russian forces have crossed into the Dnipropetrovsk region for the first time. Viktor Terhubov of the Dnipro Operational Strategic Group of Troops told the BBC it was the first attack of such a large scale in the region, which borders Donetsk and Zaporizhia. Katie Watson is in Kyiv.
Russian troops said they captured the small villages of Zaporizhzhia and Novohyorhievka on Monday. But according to Ukraine's military, there's still active fighting, with both sides trying to secure the settlements. Ukraine says it's the first large-scale attack by Russia in the Dnipropetrovsk region. This admission, amid a recent flurry of diplomatic talks aimed at ending the war, is a clear sign of just how hard Ukraine is fighting to stop the slow advance of Russia on the ground.
The U.S. Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook says she will file a lawsuit to prevent President Trump from firing her after he ordered her dismissal. A statement by a lawyer said he'd no authority to sack her. On Monday, Mr. Trump accused Ms. Cook of making false statements on mortgage agreements. She denies the allegations. Loretta Mester, former head of the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland, told the BBC President Trump's interference could have unintended consequences.
I don't believe that this will affect the decision-making process at the Federal Reserve, but anything that raises the specter that it could already can undermine the credibility of the institution. So that has ramifications for financial markets. It has ramifications for the level of inflation that the U.S. may have to see going forward. It has ramifications for longer-term interest rates.
BBC News. Officials from Iran and the 3 European parties to the 2015 nuclear deal have concluded their talks in Geneva, with Tehran saying it remains committed to diplomacy. Britain, France and Germany have long threatened to reimpose sanctions by the end of August, unless Iran curbs its uranium enrichment and restores cooperation with the UN nuclear watchdog's inspectors. An Iranian official urged the Europeans to give diplomacy a chance. 1 in 4 people globally still lack access to water, sanitation and hygiene services, according to the UN. The World Health Organization and the UN Children's Agency, UNICEF, say 2.1 billion people still lack access to safe drinking water. In most countries, women and girls are responsible for water collection, spending more than 30 minutes a day collecting water. Lebanon's Union of Journalists has demanded an immediate and public apology from a U.S. envoy, Tom Barak, who told reporters to be civilized and threatened to leave a news conference if their behavior became, as he put it, animalistic. The journalists were covering his talks with President Aoun. Lebanon's information minister expressed regret without naming the U.S. diplomat. The pop superstar Taylor Swift and the American football player Travis Kelce have announced their engagement. On Instagram, she wrote, "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married." Here's Lola Schroer.
This is a massive deal, especially in the showbiz world, but obviously as well for Swifties. She was actually on his podcast last week where she announced her new album, The Life of a Showgirl. So it just shows how close they are because she's really mixing her personal life with her business life. It's a big whirlwind, and I think for fans of her who have been through the journey with her, of her falling in love, falling out of love, business decisions, music, everything like that, they're just really happy to see that she's happy.
BBC News.
The views and opinions expressed on Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors. Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed. The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed. All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
And welcome back, K-Man, to more Straight Talk here on Bobo 103.1 FM and simulcast live on YouTube and Facebook under the key search word Straight Talk Radio Show. I'm your host, Austin Harris, and with me in studios, it is my absolute pleasure at 7 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock to talk about K-Man's latest film-making creation that is 100% K-Manian written, directed, starred, acted, and even produced in the Cayman Islands. Awesome man. With me in studios, we have Mr. Asher Lopez and my good friend Badir Awe. Good evening, gentlemen, and welcome to Straight Talk.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us.
Great pleasure having you in studios. Asher, we'll start with you. Welcome to the studios. A lovely pleasure to meet you. Congratulations on this. I'm assuming it is your first undertaking of a live action film.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So I read somewhere that Awesome Man has been, I guess, a dream project of yours that you started writing at 10 years old, and now you're 20. So it's been 10 years in the making your dream a reality. Talk to us about where it all started.
Yeah, so it started when I was in 5th grade, school year 2015 to 2016, 10 years old. My entire childhood, I was always inspired by Walt Disney. I was inspired by superheroes, and one of the inspirations at the time happened to be a favorite at the time, Man of Steel 2013, just a culmination of a lot of different childhood favorites and personal things within inspired me to create this character. It first just started with me drawing it on a piece of paper and creating an iMovie trailer out of it. And then from there, I just started building on it more and more. And I had what was called a passion project in 5th grade. And so I decided to use it as the opportunity to bring the short film to life, where I had written the script, the full script, but within 5 minutes, and had done it in the CIS school library, like on their green screen and a mini iPad using iMovie. And I had shown it to the parents in presentation. They all loved it. And from there, I've just been carrying the story and character with me throughout my entire life, building on the story and the character. And then in summer 2019, I added more emotional depth and just more depth and length to the feature-length script. And that piece of work, it was unpolished and just unfinished somewhat. But it was enough to say that this is my feature-length story. I met Badir at the CICBD Small Business Expo in 2013, and my mom had briefly mentioned Osman to him, and then I sent Badir the script. Then 2 weeks later, he called me up and then told me how much he liked it and offered to produce it for free, and here we are.
Wow, that's fantastic. What a wonderful gesture. Badir himself, a celebrated producer, not his, as we say, not his first rodeo to the big screen. Again, Badir, bringing you into the conversation, what was it that attracted you about Awesome Man and the script by this young Caymanian?
Well, he wrote something. That's the first thing, usually, to make a film. You got to write a script. A lot of people want to make a movie, but they don't want to write the script.
Yeah.
They have a great idea for a movie.
Right.
But have they written the script?
Yeah.
Everyone has a good idea for a movie. Sure. So Asher actually wrote a script. So that's the first step. All my movies start with a script.
Yes.
And I loved it. I thought, it was like a long script. It's like a movie, right? Like an hour and a half long movie. And I know we couldn't produce that. We don't have the resources to produce that. But as I was reading it, I was like, there's a couple scenes that we can maybe try.
Sure.
And I found a nice scene that I liked. And I thought, we can pull this off. It took place in New York, but I was like, I think we could pull this off in Cayman. So that's when I went back to Asher. I was like, let's shoot this scene.
Right, indeed. And just for the edification of our listeners, when we say script, it's more than just, writing out a storyline. You've got to write a storyline, and then I think it's called a screenplay. You have to write it in such a way that it can be visualized. So talk to us about that artistic process.
Yeah, so when you're writing a script, it is basically Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and it's the screenplay describing what the audience is watching on the screen, and then characters' names and their dialogue, and what kind of, if you want to specify it, what kind of expression or tone they have when delivering those lines. And yeah, it's a story, and obviously you have to make sure there's emotional resonancy and it's relatable.
Yes.
And yeah.
Did you study? Obviously you graduated high school. Did you go off to university and, get further education on filmmaking?
That's the thing with me.
Or you're just naturally brilliant?
That second option you said.
Yes, there you go. I said it, you didn't, but that worked, doesn't it? Come on, tell us.
Yeah, no, I've decided personally to skip the traditional path. I just feel like any kind of the modern day traditional school system is just not for me. I'm a more hands-on, creative, just do it kind of person. So
man, Quentin Tarantino. I love it. I love it. Yeah. All right. So the premise behind Awesome Man, what kind of superhero is he? In terms of the short film itself, what determines a short film? How many minutes are we talking about here? And of course, how do people see it?
So pretty much what determines a short film, it has to be under an hour, because an hour or longer is a feature-length script. A feature-length script should either be between 1 hour, 1 hour 45 minutes, 2 hours, 2 hours, however many minutes, or pretty long 3 hours, which the only time it would end up being 3 hours if it's Avengers Endgame and it's worth it.
Okay,
it's
all right.
earned, but otherwise it's drawn out too long. You either want to have 1 minute or 2 hours. But yeah, this what was very special about this short film is that Badir actually ended up picking out the hero's origin scene, how he becomes the superhero, and it leaves that mystery for the feature-length film to be done, to that when you watch the short film, what led up to that, and then now that the ending in the short film has happened, what comes after that kind of thing. So, and the short film itself is actually not released out there publicly because of film festival requirements. It has to be exclusive to film festivals, so I've not been allowed to release the actual short film publicly, but the trailer is out there and it's done really, really well. So I'm really grateful to the Cayman Islands for how much they've enjoyed it.
All right. And so you say the trailer is out there. Where is the trailer? Can I see it?
Yeah, it's on AL Studios.
AL Studios?
YouTube, Instagram, yeah.
Okay, and I just put in the keywords Awesome Man?
Yeah, Awesome Man, AL Studios, yeah.
Okay. Now, Asher, you are both writer, director, and actor. So you wore many hats in this endeavor. I'm looking at the Awesome Man screen poster. It features you in the center. Then you've got actors George Lewis, who's another Caymanian, and Gwyneth Stabler. I don't know. Is she Caymanian as well? Again, I didn't recognize the name. But so is it just a 3-person cast? Is that it?
So they're
main cast.
They're the main cast, but then there's a flashback scene in there with 2 kid actors, Leyland Scott and Courtney Platt III.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And are you Awesome Man? Are you the hero?
Yeah, I'm the adult version of Courtney Platt's character.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And as Awesome Man and as superheroes go, because I love superhero movies. I'm a big Avengers fan. I love Marvel. I'm kind of keen to DC because I like the darker side of things. I'm a big Batman fan.
Yeah.
I like Snyder. Zack Snyder. Yeah. I like his Justice League cut over the other guys. But big superhero fan. I go to the movies to be entertained, to shut my brain off and just enjoy it. Yeah. You know, you talked about being drawn by Disney. You know, I used to be a dad of a young kid. He's now 20 years old. But once upon a time, I went to every single Disney debut there was, and I loved every single minute of them. So I'm a big movie fan. Talk to me about Awesome Man as a superhero. What are his skills, talents, and powers?
So Awesome Man is a serum injected here, so his powers are internal.
Okay.
I want to specify, because I know how modern it's become, the serum for Awesome Man was not inspired by Captain America's Super Soldier Serum. It was actually inspired by Despicable Me 2.
All right. Hey, Bob! King Bob!
I knew nothing about Captain America at the time when I came up with the serum concept.
All right.
So I just want to clear.
Perfect. Nothing wrong with that. That's a good premise to start off with. All right, so serum-based. And again, I'm looking at some of the actors. George Lewis, who I know. Gwyneth Stabler, who I don't know. But I'm assuming that Mr. Lewis is the villain. He looks like a villain in this poster. Yeah, so he's your villain, and he's the guy that you ultimately defeat.
He's not the main villain in the feature-length film.
Yeah.
But he's the villain in the origin scene for Henry to be able to cleverly show what he's able to do. And the things Henry's doing, he's surprised he's doing, because it's like in the moment, like the serum has a mind of its own. He's not doing anything. The serum's doing it for him, and he's like looking surprised that he actually just did that.
Right.
So it makes it very relatable, very engaging, and because the short film is a very strong anti-bullying theme. It makes everyone root for Henry immediately and feel emotionally satisfied by the end of it, because they saw and they can relate to that. Everyone's being bullied, I'm sure, at some point.
Yes.
So when they watch it and they see the flashback scene, and then how it triggers the fight scene, and then how Henry takes down the thug and then establishes his superhero name by a moment that I won't spoil.
Right.
It's something that you just can't not like.
Outstanding. So it's an entertaining movie, but one that carries with it a very important and near to your heart message, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Back to you, Badir. I mean, first of all, thank you on behalf of Asher and movie fans all over the Cayman Islands for seeing a script yourself coming from certainly more. I don't want to insult anyone, but certainly a more experienced background. This is not your first rodeo. You've been in film for a while. Maybe you can tell members of our listening audience a little bit about your backstory, how you got into it, what you've done up until this point. But after seeing Asher's script, you were all in, and again, you donated your time and valuable services for free. Again, why did you make that gesture?
Well, I wasn't the only one to donate time for free. There was we had probably 20-something local, all Caymanian, or at least resident crew members who gave up their time to make the movie happen. And I think we do it because we love it. There's no really more rational way to say it. I love making films. That's why I started doing this 10 years ago. I was intrigued by how difficult the process was, and I like that. And it engages me, and it extends me, and it doesn't matter if, this is Asher's first film. Every film is hard to make.
Right.
Every film is a miracle, they say. And it does feel that way. And so, I like to be challenged, I guess. And that's why I started over 10 years ago. And I think, Cayman needs it right now. People need to express themselves. People need to create. I think what we do over at my company at Awesome Productions, we create together.
Right.
And that's why I also love films, because you work with people. You can't really do it by yourself.
Sure, of course.
Right? So that's part of the process that I really, really love, is just working with all these people to make this happen. And it's an intense environment. You know, it's a lot of pressure on everyone. You got to navigate relationships. You got to make things happen. You know, you got to make sure everyone's happy. And it's just an incredible process. And yeah, I mean, I was fortunate enough. I thanked Asher, you know, for, you know, writing the thing so that we could do it.
Yeah,
you know?
Indeed. I want to go back to those 10 years, but Awesome Productions, is it?
Yeah.
So did Awesome Man get its name 10 years ago, or was it in association with Awesome Productions?
That is the exact same reaction everyone else has said.
Okay, well, good. I don't feel left out then.
Yeah, that was completely unexpected.
That's coincidence.
Really? So you had it named Awesome Man 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And God just put you in line with Awesome Productions.
Exactly. Yeah.
I tell you, man, nothing in this life is coincidence, baby. When it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen. Back to you, Badir. 10 years you've been making films, arguably in the Cayman Islands and elsewhere. What got you into filmmaking? What has kept you in filmmaking for the better part of 10 years of your life?
You know, I was a closet artist. I didn't want to admit I was an artist for most of my life, right? So at one point, you know, in my 30s, I was like, okay, you know, existential crisis. I'm an artist. I can't, I'm not supposed to be doing the 9-to-5 thing. It's not for me.
Right.
And at that time, throughout my life, I was an artist on there. I didn't want to admit it. I played music. I took photos. I had video cameras. You know, I filmed things, figuring things out. I wrote poetry, whatever. And, you know, and then it sort of all culminated at this point where I sort of walked away from my job. I realized I was an artist, and at the same time, I was realizing that the skills that I had translated into a film medium better than anything else. So, I realized then I thought I could be a good producer, and yeah, that's why I kind of, you know, did it. And I started the company because, you know, it's one thing to make movies and want to make movies, but then you got to live in this world as well.
Sure you do.
And so, you know, we started producing local content for local vendors, and we worked with vendors from outside of Cayman a lot as well over the years. And so, you know, there's the commercial side of what we do, but this side is the creative side where we don't get paid, but this is what we love to do.
Sure, absolutely. So, well, they say you find something you love to do, you never work a day in your life. So is that true for both of you?
Oh, yeah. I love what I do.
Yeah. Outstanding. And like Asher, are you also self-taught and basically learned by doing, Badir?
I am. You know, I went to college, but, you know, that was finance, and I did a graduate degree in theology. And then by the time I found film, I was like, I ain't going to school again. Screw that. Screw that. You know, been there, done that. And then at that point, I kind of realized, well, I can learn it all on my own. You don't really need to go to school. When you go to school, you realize you're just reading books.
Yeah,
you know,
somebody else's ideas.
Right.
I could do this.
You can do this, right?
Yes.
And so that's kind of, that's what I did as well. Just picked up a camera, got a computer, started shooting, started editing, and just went from there.
All right. Talk to us about the backdrop for Awesome Man. Again, it was written by a Caymanian, directed by a Caymanian, produced by a Caymanian, starring other Caymanians. So I'm assuming it was definitely shot in Cayman. What were some of the locations? What was it like, getting into those locations? What was the feedback? Because undoubtedly, Cayman is not exactly a tiny place. Every square inch is occupied by somebody. So you got to get permissions to use this site and that site. As I joke with friends, there ain't no more bush left in this town. So talk to us about, where were some of the locations you'd selected for your film?
Yeah, so there was a lot of location scouting. One of the locations, which is, I think, the most iconic one from my personal journey, was back where it all started, CIS. In the CIS hallway, we had to get permission to do the childhood flashback bullying scene in the hallway there. And that took like a day. And then 2 weekends later, we were fortunately able to do the other main scenes at Hampton Inn in the hotel room, posing as like a penthouse, a luxurious penthouse of Alexander Graham Bell and Coco Chanel Bell, and then also the Cardinal Avenue alleyway where the action all happens.
Okay, all right. And Badir, from a producer's standpoint, obviously anybody who's ever watched any of the behind the scenes of film productions knows that, it's all about lighting. It's about, sound. It's about the right equipment. And most of these locations that he mentioned are very raw in nature. What was it like overcoming the rawness of the locations by adding that otherwise movie flair and magic?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. We filmed at the Hampton Hotel in one of their rooms, and we played that as the hero, Osman's personal room. And then the other location was an alleyway in New York, which we filmed on Cardinal Avenue, that Kirk Freeport alleyway that goes right in there.
Yes.
So we filmed that at night. So what we really had to dodge was the occasional, them dump trucks that be leaving the port.
Yes.
So it wasn't too bad, but
and chickens crawl into your scene.
Always, but there's the magic that you do in the editing where you take all that stuff out, right?
Right.
And then you insert the New York City sounds.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you're in New York,
Indeed. Casting. You have an idea. You've got a brilliant producer. You've got the right people around you to make something magical happen. How did you go about choosing the cast that would make your childhood vision a reality?
Yeah, so what happened was we had to create like an ad, and I know it had mainly went up on Badir's business's Instagram account and social media, and he had people saying that he wanted to audition for whichever role we were advertising. And we had more people coming in to audition for the thug role.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had 2 in-office auditions, 1 self-tape, and then we had 2 or 3 kids, or maybe a few more, auditioning for both Young Henry and Young Bully. And honestly, it really, really was a hard decision because we had so many different looks and deliverances to choose from. They were all so talented, so great. And so it really was a hard decision, but we had it videoed so we could watch it back, and I really had to take the time to feel out which one fits this role best. And eventually it was a really hard decision to pick the certain roles. And then there was the one self-tape that ended up getting it, which it was a really close one with the other in-office audition.
Really? Yeah. I'm always curious because filmmaking in the Cayman Islands is relatively new, but we've had a few big names that have certainly helped to elevate it to to the level where it's at. Now, you got to pay homage and pay respect where it's due. You got the likes of Frankie Flowers Jr., but you also got Badir Alway, who's in the same, the same ilk, if you will, in my personal opinion. But what was the enthusiasm level from those persons who came out wanting to be a part of the cast? How many persons casted for the limited roles that were available?
So, I was super touched and inspired by how many, both cast and crew, how many people, especially for free, were willing to come on board, because obviously we had to pitch deck the film to them, and I was really inspired by how many people actually believed in the vision, actually wanted to come on board, how excited they were about it, and how much dedication, hard work, and effort they were putting into it. It was truly humbling and gratifying, and it was really exciting seeing how much cast came in to audition for the thing as well.
All right.
I would say there was 25 people that auditioned for the 5 roles.
Okay.
So that's interesting to think about, because that's 20 people who put themselves out there but didn't get the role.
Sure.
And that's something that a director, and I know Asher had to go through this, you go through, is that you have all these people sort of being vulnerable to you on camera,
right,
auditioning to play in your film, and then at some point you got to go back to them and say no. And the interesting thing about it is that sometimes you have to say no to people who are great.
Right.
If for some reason or other, which you can't explain in the filmmaking process, it couldn't work with that person.
Right.
So you had to go with another person. So it's always this kind of bittersweet thing where you have to reject people even though they did great.
Indeed.
We
do have to pause at 29 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock, but there'll be more from Badir Alway and Asher Lopez and Awesome Man when Straight Talk returns right here on Bobo 103.1 FM.
More Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio coming up. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Bobo 103.1.
Looking for TVs, electronics, sound systems, speakers, gaming consoles, games, and smart home gadgets? Shop Cost You Less.
Looking for housewares, small appliances, fans, mini fridges, and cooling? Shop Cost You Less.
Looking for baby supplies, toys and games, pet supplies, cleaning supplies, and auto supplies? Shop Cost You Less.
Looking for quality produce, grass-fed meats, and groceries? You guessed it. Shop Cost You Less.
Cost You Less is your destination for everything you need on island. Cost You Less. Everyday low prices on items that matter to you.
K-Man, Units is here, the island's newest move-in and storage solution. Our robot delivery system allows you to put your unit almost anywhere while providing level loading, uploading, and minimizing shifting. What's even better, no time constraints. Pack at your own pace for moving or store as long as you need. Short-term or long-term, at the home or on the job site. Units, fast, safe, and secure. Check us out at units.ky and be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
The Office Hero. To claim this title, you have to make an exceedingly wise decision. Do something that benefits staff, impresses clients, all while keeping expenses low. Are you ready to be the Office Hero? Here's what to do. Call Hughes Cleaning Service. Hughes Cleaning Service will make your office shine and you a hero. Dusting, vacuuming, windows, sanitizing, and more. Hughes expert cleaners will make your office a healthy, immaculate, impressive workspace. Call 949-0734. Visit hughes-janitorial.com. Hughes, you get more than clean.
We all work hard to one day buy the house of our dreams. Why wouldn't you protect it? With Saxon, you now have the option to get a home insurance quote online. Avoid the waiting in lines and the traffic. Simply log on to saxon.ky and click to get a quote to get started. At Saxon, we pride ourselves on providing our customers with excellent customer service and convenience. So what are you waiting for? Visit saxon.ky today from the comfort of your home or office to get your quote and protect the things you love. Saxon. Smart Insurance.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
It's trivia every Wednesday from 7 o'clock at Sandbar on the Georgetown waterfront. Your chance to win some fantastic prizes in our free-to-enter Trivia Madness. Great offers on beer buckets, margaritas, and a delicious menu served throughout the evening. Grab your pals and get along to Sandbar every Wednesday from 7 o'clock for the most fun you can have with your clothes on. Are we ready?
Yes, Marty!
Then let's do this. Trivia, Sandbar, 7 o'clock, Wednesday. See you there.
Across Cayman on FM, online, and on your smart speaker. This is Bobo 103.1, powered by Health Services Authority, committed to caring for you. The views and opinions expressed on Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors. Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed. The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed. All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
And welcome back, K-Man, to more Straight Talk here on Bobo 103.1 FM and simulcasting live over YouTube and Facebook under the key search word Straight Talk Radio Show. I'm your host, Austin Harris. My co-host, Ellio Solomon, is on leave, but I can guarantee you he's regretting not having the pleasure, as I am, to be in studios today to welcome two Caymanian filmmakers who have just recently showcased, again, one person's lifelong vision, a screenplay that is now a short film, and that it is, again, in living color. Asher Lopez, director, writer, and actor, is in studios. He's joined by a very familiar producer of 10 years, also Caymanian, Badir Awe, in studios talking about the newest short film to grace the screens here in the Cayman Islands. Awesome Man is the name of it. I, for one, have not seen the trailer yet, but you can guarantee you before the night is over and before the sun fully sets, I'll be checking it out. The phone lines are open, 745-2626. I want to encourage our listeners. I mean, it's all well and good to send a text and say congratulations, but I feel really privileged to be sharing a studio with two talented young Caymanians that are really, branching out, being, I think, the founders or forebearers of what could very well be the future film industry in the Cayman Islands. I feel like I'm very much privileged to be a part of history in the making and in the presence of greatness. And I want to encourage my listeners, fellow Caymanians, now is the opportunity where we celebrate our own by letting them know how we feel about their accomplishments. So pick up the phone, no excuses, 745-2626. A kind word goes a long way, and I want to encourage you to do it. If talking isn't your thing, I get it. You can reach out to us on our WhatsApp line, 928-2562. You can send us a traditional WhatsApp text message, or you can get creative and send us a WhatsApp audio note. Either way, I'm sure our guest would appreciate hearing from you. And just to kickstart things, I got one from one listener who wrote in during the break. Badir and Asher, congratulations and continued success to you both. It fills my heart to see so many Caymanians doing spectacular things, from Frankie Flowers Jr. and Jazz Pitcairn to film writers and Salida Ebanks, our famous Caymanian Victoria's Secrets model and director. The world is truly your oyster. Keep shining and showing what Caymanians can do. Absolutely appreciate those remarks, and I'm sure you guys do as well.
Nice.
Thank you.
So we're talking about Awesome Man, short film that is available in trailer only, but you can pick it up on YouTube. And we're again going to give you some more keys as to where you can find those viewing opportunities for those listeners who are tuned in tonight. But Badir, I want to take you, well, both of you, Badir and Asher, I want to step back from Awesome Man for a second and talk about the film industry in the Cayman Islands, which is very much in its embryo stages. And there is a commission, the Cayman Islands Film Commission, that is helping to, again, spread the word and undoubtedly support creative endeavors such as yours. How helpful was that film commission and its members in creating this latest artistic work called Awesome Man?
Well, I don't think they were directly involved, but I'm not sure that it was even quite fully established when we started.
Right.
So Brittany Kelly is the new film commissioner, and she was, I think, appointed just this year. So we filmed this, a couple years back now. It didn't have the teeth that it has, but I think they're, I know, I can't speak for them. I know they're very interested in local projects, but I think what's important from their perspective is bringing in international projects. I know off the air we talk about the Nicolas Cage film, and the Ron Perlman films that were filmed in Cayman. That's their sort of job, is to attract those top-level actors and producers to think about Cayman as a shooting location, right?
Absolutely.
That would that has a lot of positive benefits for the island economically and just socially.
But what does it say to you as a producer of 10 years that we have had films? And I thank you for mentioning again, we were talking about a movie that starred Nicolas Cage, Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman, you might remember from Hellboy. Nicolas Cage. Who doesn't know Nicolas Cage? Again, both A-list actors, acting in a movie that was filmed here in the Cayman Islands not too long ago, made its way to the big screen. What does it say about the Cayman Islands to be attracting that kind of A-list actor? I mean, we remember when film first came to Cayman. No, I'm not talking about that old turtle movie that Larry Casso and Dirty Reed Dennis made back when, but I'm talking about The Firm, when you had Tom Cruise and Gene Hackman here, filmed at the old Hyatt. It was all the buzz. You probably were in diapers at the time, Asher, but it's all right. Some of us were around at that time. But what does it say about the Cayman Islands, particularly the Cayman Islands as a budding, embryonic film industry in the making, that it can attract A-list actors to the islands to make movies?
Well, when you hear it from their own mouths, they loved Cayman.
Right.
They loved being here. They loved the people. There's a little video love letter that they created for Cayman. So I think, even from a tourism perspective, I think it's important that, these actors know Cayman and can talk about it when they go back to LA or wherever they're from, and, make Cayman just sort of more known. We know Cayman, so we think everyone knows Cayman, but people in the States really, if they haven't been here, they just have the wrong impression of what Cayman is. So every time they come, they're like, what, this is Cayman? This is not what I expected, right?
Right.
So there's a sort of imbalance between what people perceive and then what actually happens when they get here. So I think, you know, encouraging these films and actors and producers to come here can maybe fill that gap a little bit. And I think, you know, the other key thing, and you mentioned it, and by the way, Cayman Triangle, that's the
Cayman Triangle.
That was a good movie, though.
It was a good movie.
That is a good movie. Everybody should see that movie. That's part of the culture, and that's part of the history of filmmaking in Cayman.
A very good point. And again, given when it was shot, who shot it, again, talk about bare bones, no budget, but it really was well done for its time.
I thought so too, man. It's super funny.
Cayman Triangle.
Anyone can find that if they look hard enough on YouTube or wherever, you know, and but I think the important point, what you were saying, is, you know, the firm situation, and Cayman's identity is tied to that movie. So on one hand, people don't like that, right? Because it's upsetting. It's not really the brand of who Cayman is. But I think the positive side of that we have to learn is that one film made that impression.
Sure.
So what does that tell us? Another film can change the impression. Right. And that's what we want. If we really want to tell the story of Cayman, we need to make more movies. We need to stop hiding from the firm. Let's just make more films. Yeah. Right. Indeed. And I think, you know, the film commissioner and the film commission and Brittany, I think that's, you know, what they want to do and what they're trying to do. You know, bring those guys in. Asher and I will keep working, and the rest of the locals here from the ground up, and we'll meet in the middle, and we'll make good things happen.
Indeed. And you talked about the firm, and you're right. I remember when it was filmed, you know, again, it gave more of the secular, commercial, outside viewpoint of what the Cayman Islands financial services industry was, and we at home didn't like that. But arguably, so too did Haven, Frankie Flowers' movie. I remember when it was being produced, and using Frankie Flowers' direct words, it shows Cayman's ugly underbelly. And that didn't resonate well with Caymanians. But it was still a phenomenal production, and more to the point, from a film industry standpoint, it continued to put the Cayman Islands on a pedestal that we didn't even know existed, and started to give, I guess, seedling to an industry that is now really starting to produce fruit. And you guys are, again, you know, some of that fruit, frankly.
Yeah.
Asher, to your point of view, I mean, you're 20 years old. I have a son that just turned 20. And, you know, one of the things that, you know, I marvel about, that, yes, I miss the little boy that he was. But what I'm encouraged by is I can have man-to-man conversations with him and learn how his mind works. And what I've discovered is that your generation are thinking broadly, much widely different than my generation ever did. You're much more creative. You're much more knowledgeable. Your taste in music, your taste in film, your taste in literature is just so incredibly broad that I'm oftentimes flabbergasted to say, I made that? Wow, that's pretty cool. But talk to me from the standpoint of a filmmaker's perspective. Clearly, there've got to be more Asher Lopez's in the making, you know, coming through the primary and high schools today. What do you see from your vantage point about the future and Caymanians' place in that future?
I think there's a lot of potential for the future of filmmaking, especially because we're film industry, we're compared and in the circle of like Hollywood and all that. And I believe in recent years that Hollywood has been taking a certain weird direction with all their movies, and something just feels different about movies, especially after 2020. So I think there's just a lot of potential to do great things in the movie industry, seeing where certain things are going wrong or where audiences aren't really taking to this, and what you could do differently and better. So. Yeah.
All right. We talked about, again, you had 25 cast, vying for 5 roles. Whether it be the firm where, again, it seemed like the whole community came out and wanted to be in the cast. And, there were a bunch of roles for extras. So there were a lot of people that became insta-famous thanks to the firm that continue on today. But talk to us. It seems to me, from my vantage point, that whenever there's a film team or a production team in Cayman, there are all sorts of people that want to participate. Yeah, there have been a number of zombie flicks, which, again, have seemed to draw a lot of attention. But even that suggests to me that, there are people, if they're not of your ilk, directors, writers, producers, actors themselves, but they have persons with interest that want to get involved. What do you think as a jurisdiction, arguably as a government, because here in this town we have immediate access to our politicians, which you go anywhere else in the world, you can't reach out and touch them. You can't make a suggestion. They're hearing you and acting on it. From your standpoint, both of you, what is it going to take filmmaking in the Cayman Islands to the next level? And I'll just use a word: funding. A lot of what separates the average movies from the really great movies is money. That money goes into technology, whether it be AI, whether it be your green screen, whether it be whatever. But money really makes movies fantastic because it makes it easier. But talk to us where we are and what is the next step and how do we get there?
I think where we are is that our local film infrastructure is still developing, but there's huge potential, and I'm excited to see where it goes, especially seeing the latest Compass TV, where the film commission was talked about. I'm really excited about that, but I think it would help all of us filmmakers out to get government sponsorship here and there, funding for our projects, whether to actually do the production or like to sponsor us to travel overseas to film festivals and other things, instead of trying to pick up the scraps to try and pay for the plane tickets and hotels and everything, to see and be there to be able to pick up our award or whatever it is. I think government funding would really be helpful.
Well, speaking of Compass TV, again, having once upon a time, life experience in television a long time ago. From a
what you did there again?
Yeah, long time. It wasn't quite the sports. It wasn't quite. They did the sports. Yeah, did the news before that at dark 30 in the morning. Worked for the likes of Desmond Seals and Colin Wilson. Nice. Really, the founders of TV in the Cayman Islands. Then we had Mike Martin, the original Cayman 27. A lot of people that we owe a lot of credit to for getting us to where we are. But I had the opportunity during the elections to visit the Compass Studios, and it really is, from a producer professional standpoint, a really well done set. And I understand that even the camera, there's one or two cameras there, that there are the only cameras like that in the region. They're that high tech. So clearly they spent a pretty penny. And again, making the point that, what takes you from average to great usually is a lot of talent, without a doubt. But it does take a lot of money to prop up that talent and showcase it. Again, taking us back now to Awesome Man. Awesome Man is in the public realm. It's not, and again, it's under an hour long, but that feature, if you will, even short film, is not viewable by the general public. All we can hope for is, catching sight of the trailer. So for those listening now, those perhaps catching us on YouTube, those with their phones in their hands, where can they go? What are the keywords they're looking for so that they can check out the trailer for Awesome Man?
So on YouTube, you can go to the YouTube channel AL Studios. It's the same thing on Facebook and Instagram at AL Studios Official, or you can go to my personal social media, Asher C. Lopez, and you can continue to view up-to-date content about film festival updates, or these announcing that I'm going to be on Tune In, and just anything new to do with the project.
All right. Again, reminding the public, 745-2626. Don't be shy. We got two fantastic Caymanians in studios. I want to hear from you. Call them up. Tell them congratulations. Big them up loud and proud. I can't be the only one that's incredibly proud to be sitting in studios with these fine gentlemen, and I personally can't wait to check out the trailer to Awesome Man as well. But whilst we're waiting on, again, some brave souls to share some thoughts, Asher, you have realized a childhood dream. Again, you started with the script for what would become Awesome Man when you were 10 years old. You hung on to that vision, you added to it and improved upon it over the years until you made it a reality. That says a lot about you, personal commitment and dedication, but very clearly you knew what you wanted to be before you knew what you wanted to be was. So that says a lot about you. You have now produced and, shared your vision. What comes next?
Yeah, so right now what comes next is that I have been actively grinding at completing the Awesome Man feature-length script. as I am going to Vienna in December for the festival nomination, and having the script ready to be able to show people I'm going to be networking with, whether international producers on the red carpet or investors or anything like that. So I am adding a lot more emotional depth and really trying to create a commercial quality, polished script to be able to pitch right away, be proactive. And I can tell you, the Cayman Islands is in for something really exciting. Like, this is a very high stakes movie, especially towards the end, the action. But it's also a lot of, besides just being flashy, it's very emotionally resonant, and certain things you pick up here, like, oh, I can see how that pays off here and here. And I'm sure a lot of people in the Cayman Islands know that it's actually the kickoff for what I'm aiming to do is build a superhero cinematic universe like Marvel and DC.
No kidding.
Yeah, Austin is the kickoff. So
awesome.
From now, I'm already building like a cinematic universe roadmap. I have other character scripts in the works, like innovative, fresh, emotionally resonating storylines and arcs and characters, and actively saying, okay, because I did this to this script, I have to check the roadmap and see if this is continuous in the Osman script, and really paying attention to the Easter eggs and the details and everything to make sure everything is just so tightly interconnected it's not even funny, and creating something very commercially quality that's going to be a legacy. So the Lopez Cinematic Universe.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. And again, I feel fortunate that I was here at the ground floor. One day I'm going to see your name up in lights, and the Academy Award goes to for Best Film, Director, Actor, and Producer. I'm going to say, yeah, I knew them when they were little bitty. Now look at them today. Martin Scorsese, eat your heart out, baby. Zack Snyder, who? I don't know who Zack Snyder is. I tell you who Badir Awe and Asher Lopez is, though. When you talk about festival, what festival is it? Because we're going to follow you wherever you go. So we're kind of like you're now online stalkers. I'm just letting you know in advance.
Love it.
What film festival?
So the first one was that Osman was nominated as a finalist at the International Indie Film and Screenplay Festival in Vienna,
yes,
Austria. And then the second one was receiving in June or July, a top 3 in its category, honorable mention at an Athens Film Festival with a trophy from Athens to the Cayman Islands to be received, as well as an honorable mention from a Dubai Film Festival. And then recently, Osman has been selected by a Ukrainian film festival to be held in Poland. And that film festival is an IMDb accredited film festival. So that was just a jaw dropper for me.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
An IMDb accredited film festival.
That's fantastic. And I'm going to assume Awesome Productions. Why would you separate yourself from Awesome, man? Especially if they start their own universe. But I'm assuming Awesome Productions are going to be, continuing your partnership with Asher Lopez and arguably attending these film festivals as you go along.
Definitely. I'd love to continue working with Asher. And I mean, look at the cinematic universe he's created in his mind, right? That's what you got to be a writer, right? You got to be very intimate with the whole, not just your plot, your characters, but the universe in which they live. And, so I think it's important to encourage that, because I think there's a lot of jewels in there, and there's a lot of good characters that he's created. This is what I love as well. So I'm going to continue, working with Asher as long as he'll have me, and look forward to creating something else. I look forward to reading the script. So like I keep telling him, you need to finish the script. You're going to festivals. You got to finish the script, right? Because you want to do a longer film next time, right? You want to get more funding. So I'm looking forward as the sort of next step to read his final polished script.
Sure.
Yeah.
Indeed. Well, if I can encourage you to put on your headphones, we have potentially 2 audio notes that persons have shared in. Come on via WhatsApp. They want to join our conversation. Let's take the first.
Hi, Austin. It's so good to hear these young entrepreneurs and talented individuals.
Can you hear that?
I was wondering if your guests could share their perspective on whether there's any interest in perhaps them developing local productions, such as what we see even happening in other Caribbean countries, which has stemmed from the U.S. Things like perhaps Cayman's Got Talent, Cayman's Shark Tank, encouraging entrepreneurs and investors, etc., or even mysteries, game shows, etc. I think with Compass TV's platform, these are just some of the things that can help keep the interest going in our local productions and our creativeness. that we have on island. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much for those contributions. Focusing less on movie making, but suggesting, whether we could produce using the existing infrastructure of Compass TV and their studios, things like Shark Tank, things like, America / Cayman's Got Talent. Can we use those platforms to develop more opportunities that would otherwise promote not only Cayman's filmmaking opportunities, but also Cayman's talent in film to develop the industry?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the Shark Tank, that's a multi-million-dollar show. A lot of these shows, these reality shows, these are huge productions that need to be financed off the bat. And I think what we need to do on Island is, at our sort of level, is just focus on doing the independent versions of these things. So, for instance, people may have heard of Survivor Cayman, which came out this year and was filmed last year, produced by Joseph Bates here on Island. And he did that kind of how we did this film, just making it happen day by day. And I think, those kind of independent projects are where we are right now. I don't know what Compass is up to in terms of them being able to produce, shows like that. But those are definitely huge shows. So we sort of need to work from where we are and, meet the producers from abroad sort of halfway. And I think eventually, yes, we could have shows like that. We have had, the reality show Grand Cayman Secrets in Paradise, F-Boy Island. There's a lot of shows that were filmed here, TV shows like House Hunters. There's a lot of, Atlanta X's, a lot of different shows that have come here. And I think that's where we need to focus on the, maybe we can't do full seasons of Shark Tank, but maybe we can do an episode.
Absolutely.
Maybe we can't do full seasons of, another big show, but we can do an episode here on Island, right? So it's trying to sort of find that middle ground where we can meet them in the middle.
All right. We got about a minute of closing comments from each of you. Badir, I want to let you go first. And Asher, writer, director, actor, I'll give you the final word. But Badir, some closing comments on Awesome Man and your participation in it.
Yeah. So, look for the trailer, Awesome Man, on YouTube. You can find it pretty easily and see what we did. And you'll get a good idea of, this is what we were able to achieve on Island. There's some special effects that you'll see, like how did we make that happen, right? Like how do all these things come together? And I think follow AL Studios, follow Awesome Man, reach out to Asher, reach out to me. We want to create together. That's what we do. And we want to inspire everybody to keep writing, keep creating. You mentioned your son is also a creator. I think the world and Cayman is just pumping out creators. Why is that? We live in a very creative world. TikTok, YouTube, that's not going anywhere. That means something. And I think we all need to express ourselves. And I think what we're doing is trying to just encourage that. And that's what we were doing with Awesome Man. And that's what we just want to continue doing.
Indeed. Well, I just want to say to you, Badir, certainly congratulations on your phenomenal success. Congratulations on your decision to pursue a creative side that you enjoy. I'm looking for wonderful things from you in the future, and certainly this Awesome Man universe could very well be the start of it. So thank you for being a fantastic guest.
Thanks, Austin.
Indeed. Asher Lopez, I'm privileged to share a studio with you, one Caymanian to the next. Congratulations on seeing your vision turned into reality. An opportunity for some final remarks.
Thank you. Yeah, my final remarks would just be never give up, keep pursuing and believing in your dreams, and even if it seems so big that it scares you, still do it. And I just want to thank the amazing Caymanians for supporting me and for being excited. Their emotional reaction is what keeps me fueled to keep creating and keep entertaining. And I hope you really enjoy and appreciate what we're going to pull off.
Indeed. Well, again, gentlemen, I feel absolutely privileged to have been in your presence. I congratulate you on this fantastic body of work. I pray blessings over both of your lives and your careers, from the film festivals to what comes next. Asher, I'm looking forward to the Asher Lopez universe. I will be a movie fan for this and your future endeavors. Thank you very much for being our guest in studios. Keep it locked. There'll be more Straight Talk coming up next on Bobo FM.
Bobo.
BBC News.
BBC News. World news from the BBC. Violent clashes. Thick black smoke.
A tremendous legal victory.
Crucial elections.
Destructive wind.
A search and recovery operation.
A race against time.
An imminent threat. Flying a drone over a rival team's training session.
Whatever is happening, wherever it's happening, catch up with the latest news bulletins from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM.
The BBC's From Our Own Correspondent.
In today's Russia, no one is allowed anywhere near the political stage if they pose a serious challenge to Vladimir Putin.
Stories and reflections from our reporters around the world.
There is a major sense of insecurity here. More people are coming in from Sudan every day.
From Our Own Correspondent from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM.
How can we understand the world better?
The BBC World Service is a window onto the wider world.
The vantage point from which to survey a new horizon.
News, reports, and analysis from around the world.
Stories we think matter.
Different people from different societies.
We get to the heart of global issues.
News, stories, and global perspectives from the BBC World Service.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM. This is Bobo 103.1, powered by Health Services Authority.
At Health Services Authority, they are committed to caring for you. They are Cayman's largest and longest-standing healthcare provider, offering the most comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and public health services at 9 different locations across all 3 islands.
Across Cayman on 103.1 FM, online, and on your smart speaker. The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo 103.1.
BBC News with Sue Montgomery. Thousands of Israeli protesters have rallied in Tel Aviv and other cities in support of the families of hostages held by Hamas in Gaza. Demonstrators marched to the Israeli Prime Minister's office. Emir Nader is in Jerusalem.
Across Israel, key highways have been blocked by burning tyres and protesters linking arms. Demonstrations calling for a ceasefire deal have been taking place also in Tel Aviv and other cities led by hostage families. This is the father of the hostage, Nimrod Cohen.
Israel is standing against Netanyahu and his regime. Another day for protest, another day to make sure the issue of the hostages stays in high priority. Another day to pressure Netanyahu and force him to end the war and get a hostage deal.
Israeli troops have continued their push into Gaza City. A popular market east of it was hit, killing and injuring a number of people. Earlier, the Israeli military issued what it called initial findings over Monday's strike in the Nasser hospital in southern Gaza. 20 people were killed, including 5 journalists. Stefan Dujarric, spokesman for the UN Secretary General, gave his reaction.
Hospitals should never be a target. Civilians should not be a target. And colleagues like yours, journalists, are protected under international law and should never be a target. I think there are a lot of answers that the media is waiting for, that people are waiting for to fully understand exactly what happened. But what we will need is accountability for what has happened.
A Ukrainian military official has acknowledged that Russian forces have crossed into the Dnipropetrovsk region for the first time. Viktor Terhubov of the Dnipro Operational Strategic Group of Troops told the BBC it was the first attack of such a large scale in the region. A judge in Brazil has declared the former president Jair Bolsonaro a flight risk and placed him under round-the-clock surveillance while he awaits the verdict of his criminal trial. The decision follows the discovery by police of a draft letter by Mr. Bolsonaro, written last year, requesting asylum in Argentina. He faces up to 40 years in prison if convicted of plotting to overturn the result of the 2022 election. The U.S. Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook says she will file a lawsuit to prevent President Trump from firing her. On Monday, Mr. Trump accused her of making false statements on mortgage agreements. She denies the allegations. President Trump has shown no sign of backing down.
She seems to have had an infraction, and she can't have an infraction, and especially that infraction because she's in charge of, if you think about it, mortgages, and we need people that are 100% above board. And it doesn't seem like she was.
BBC News. The UN's nuclear watchdog chief, Rafael Grossi, has said a team of nuclear inspectors has returned to Iran. The Atomic Agency Director General said discussions were underway in Tehran on resuming inspections of Iran's nuclear facilities. It would be the first IAEA presence there since the US attack in June on Iran's nuclear sites. 1 in 4 people globally still lack access to water, sanitation and hygiene services, according to the UN. The World Health Organization and the UN Children's Agency, UNICEF, say 2.1 billion people still lack access to safe drinking water. In most countries, women and girls are responsible for water collection, spending more than 30 minutes per day collecting water. An Italian painting stolen by the Nazis from a Jewish art dealer in Amsterdam has been spotted on the website of an estate agent selling a house in Argentina, more than 80 years after it was taken. An online photo shows a portrait of a lady by Giuseppe Ghislandi hanging above a sofa inside a property near Buenos Aires, once owned by a senior Nazi official who moved to South America after the Second World War. Anne Weber co-founded the Commission for Looted Art in Europe.
For this one to turn up in this way is very much due to the internet and the way in which we can now find images. There are thousands and thousands of missing paintings. There are over 100,000 Nazi looted paintings that are still missing today, of which this is only one. But we've only ever seen it in black and white, so now we can see it in colour.
The pop superstar Taylor Swift and the American football player Travis Kelce have announced their engagement. Photos showed him on bended knee in a garden bedecked with numerous bouquets of flowers. A large diamond ring was displayed in Swift's left hand. The couple, who are both 35, have been dating for 2 years. BBC News.
The views and opinions expressed on Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors.
Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed.
The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed.
All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated.
Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
And welcome back, K-Man, to more Straight Talk here on Bobo 103.1 FM. I'm your host, Austin Harris. My colleague, Ellio Solomon, is on leave, but not with his feet up. He's busy, obviously, working diligently on some new online infrastructure that we hope will improve the listener experience as well as the viewer experience for those of you who diligently and loyally tune into Straight Talk each and every weekday evening from 4:30 to 6:30. We are now in our final segment at 7 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. But I just want to send a great big shout out once again to Badir Awe and Asher Lopez, who we just had in studios. Really, what a rewarding and uplifting, inspirational interview. I just feel so lucky, so blessed to have been, allowed to be a part of this interview, and in particular, the start of Asher Lopez's budding film career. Likewise, Badir, though he's been in the business for 10 years, but arguably that, too, is just the beginning for him. We can see great and fantastic things in both of these young Caymanians' future. And, again, I just want to encourage the community to go out and support our local filmmakers whenever there are events for either Asher Lopez or Awesome Productions, which, of course, is Badir Awe's our production company. Go out and support it. I want to congratulate and thank all of the budding actors who came out for the casting call. Again, some 25 budding actors came out vying for 5 roles, but certainly want to congratulate those who got it. George Lewis, Gwen, I got to get her name right, Gwen Stapleford, I think it was, and of course Asher Lopez were the main stars in Awesome Man. But undoubtedly, everyone who came out, who participated, who tried out. You're all stars in my book, and if not Awesome Man, well, maybe Awesome Man 2 or whatever else comes down the pipeline. I expect to see some budding stars of the very near future, and more of them will be Caymanians. So again, I'm just really excited about Cayman's future film industry and how Caymanians can be a part of that success story. Congratulations to the Cayman Islands Film Commission, as Badir pointed out. Obviously, they're still also in their embryonic stage. We have a new film commissioner, and obviously one of their primary roles is to try to generate interest, global interest in the Cayman Islands, get some of the directors or otherwise, interested in looking at the Cayman Islands. But as always, it was a wwonderful interview, and again, awesome man. You can check it out on YouTube. I'm going to check it out myself. You can see it at AI.com, I think it was. But look it up on Instagram. As soon as I find a link for it, I'll be sharing it on my social media and encouraging as many persons to do likewise. The phone lines now are open at 10 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock, giving us about 20 minutes remaining on the program. The phone lines are open at 745-2626. The number in studios. If you want to call in and add your voice to our conversation, I'd love to hear from you. If talking isn't your thing, you can always write to us on our WhatsApp line, 928-2562, or you can get creative and share with us an audio note. I'm really sorry to the listening audience. We did share an audio note a little while ago. The sound levels, I'm getting reports suggesting that they are not what they used to be. So again, you can always tell when somebody else has been in this studio. Let me just see if that'll make a difference for me. And page down, page up. I don't know. Well, let's see. I have another audio note. Let's see what the voice levels sound like on this one. Oh, no. Guess not. All right. Didn't even hear that at all. So there you go. There clearly is a problem in my studios, and I'm hoping to have it corrected before potentially our next show. It's very easy to see that the studio gremlins are at play here, and, well, they're doing what they do to make my life absolutely miserable. And, of course, our key technician has gone on his annual vacation as of today, and all of these gremlins tend to come out of the woodwork every time he leaves the studio. So we want to apologize to the listening audience. What is this? I'm having no issues hearing you on YouTube. Well, God bless you. I'm grateful for that. Apologies to those who are sending audio notes. And again, I'm not really getting much feedback. Let's see. Let's try this one.
To the two movie makers, Cayman Finest, proud of them. You don't want to work a day in your life, you find something that you truly enjoy. Asha, well done, young man, 20 years. Jaja, if wishes were horses, a lot of us would be riding. But dear, you know, it's not your first rodeo, but we all are dreamers, bro. And if the dream is big enough, the facts don't count. Austin, this is fit for airplay. As you know, our bankers' role, our bankers' job back in the days, can't hold us now. Talk show host, tow truck operator. Doing what we love is the greatest joy in the beautiful Cayman Islands. Where we live, others dream to have a vacation. It is what it is. One love, 24/7.
One love to my brother from another mother there, sharing a little bit audio note. Again, the level's not the greatest, but better than they were. And I'm going to continue to tinker here in studios to see if we can't get it back to where it needs to go. Yes, somebody says, yes, no issues hearing you on YouTube. Just too bad you're still so ugly, though. Yeah, I know. I can't help it. I got a face made for radio. Somebody decided to stick a camera in my face. It wasn't me, I promise. But it is what it is. 745-2626 is the number in studios. Pick up the phone, give us a call, or you can reach out to us via WhatsApp, 928-2562. Got a quick WhatsApp message. Austin, you're doing a great job solo, but I know you must be missing Ellio. You have no idea. I really am. Quick question. Last week, the Compass announced a full change to the Cayman Airways Board of Directors. I'm wondering, doesn't replacing an entire board at once risk disrupting continuity? how can the public be assured that strategies, budgets, and progress aren't just reset each time, leading to a cycle of starting over without profitability or seeing complete trips of key new strategies that may or may not be activated? Well, that is always the risk when you change over any board. And again, much like whenever we make changes to government administrations, again, we oftentimes struggle with that continuity factor. Some administrations are better than others by picking up where those left off. Again, obviously, you must have been listening to some of the discussions I was having earlier on public transport, questioning why the last administration had to employ Deloitte, undoubtedly at a cost of a pretty penny, to develop a public transportation strategy, when I can assure you there are reams and reams of diligent and, I dare say, useful bodies of work put together by previous administrations, not just my own, but yes, my own as well, having had a direct hand in it, and at least putting forward 10 excellent recommendations that the General Caucus in my term accepted. But again, COVID came around, disrupted everybody's plans, and it is what it is. We see the first steps, transforming in terms of the buses. Will that make a start to, a realistic and dependable public transportation network? Who knows? That doesn't start until 2026, so we continue to play the waiting game with this current lot in government. But focusing on the changes to Cayman Airways, yes, the Cayman Airways board did change. The new chairman is David Rich. The deputy chairman is Chris Bergstrom, with directors Wanda Ebax, Ryan Bowles, Miguel Martin, Letitia Lawrence, Larry Tibbetts, and Joanne Lawson. I only recognize two of those names from aviation, Larry Tibbetts and Chris Bergstrom as deputy chair. Of course, Chris Bergstrom, a longtime captain for the airline. So hopefully on the continuity factor, he'll bring some of that experience to the current board of directors. The rest, largely lawyers and business people. I don't know what they're going to bring to the equation. Certainly the last board of directors at Cayman Airways, I had a lot of time for. There was a lot of vast amount of experience in that board, arguably taking the airline out of the red and into the black. But I remain optimistic, is all I can say. But I do share the concern raised by the writer that by changing out the entire board with entirely new members is a risk. Is it going to prove to be a risk for Cayman Airways? I don't know. But also, of course, that board are going to depend heavily on their operational executive, the CEO, the CFO, all of whom, to my understanding, remain unchanged. So hopefully that executive board and leadership will offer direction and guidance to this otherwise new and green board of directors at Cayman Airways. And hopefully the airline will go from strength to strength. But again, it all remains to be seen as to how that'll work out. And yeah, it is a concern when you make broad and such distinct changes to a board like they have done, particularly with Cayman Airways. A big shout out to the new CF High School for banning cell and smartphones, that's CF High School, by their students during school hours. Thank you. Hopefully all other schools, particularly government, will also follow suit. CF High School, by the way, that's Clever Fish. Thank you for that, because I was kind of struggling. Who is CF? I thought it was Clifton Hunter, but that's CH, so that didn't make sense. So Clever Fish High School apparently banning cell and smartphones by their students during school hours. At least one person seeing this as a step in the right direction. I have to agree. Again, we talk about the next generation, a bunch of creatives. I have a son that lived on his smartphone. In his defense, he was an only child, didn't have siblings to annoy or be annoyed by, so he had to entertain himself somehow. But yeah, I mean, I oftentimes, again, I'm old and now I'm cranky and say, back in my day, when we wanted to make friends, we actually went outside and met new people. Nowadays, you make friends online in chat groups, usually playing online games, playing for years, never meeting them in person, but, having fantastic relationships. Everything is online now. Doesn't make sense to me, but it seems to work for the young people. There are books being written in terms of brain rot that comes from staring at these electronic devices all of the time. But one thing is for certain, technology has grown by leaps and bounds, and there's no way of putting it back in the box. So we just got to live with it. But I do see a lot of credit, a lot of merit, particularly in banning cell and smartphones of students during school hours. Obviously, we'll see how that pays off in the long run in terms of their performance and their classwork, and there's certainly year-end grades. But bravo to Clever Fish High School for being the first truly thinking outside of the box new high school in Cayman. Bravo to them for this bold new move. Just turning to the other headlines, we wanted to touch on this very briefly yesterday. I did see it in the news, and I thought it was rather curious. There is it. Let me pull it up. Yes, the government buys bluff land for $5.5 million. Just days after the community began calling for the new government to buy a huge tract of wilderness on the northeastern end of the bluff on Cayman Brac, the National Coalition for Caymanians has confirmed that it has acquired the land for $5.5 million. The culturally and environmentally important 125-acre plot by the Lighthouse Park, including a historic nature trail, offers one of the most spectacular views in the Cayman Islands and a biodiverse area of untouched natural habitat. The culturally and ecologically sensitive area of land on Cayman Brac had been placed on the market, obviously for commercial purchases, and this stirred a social media storm as residents in all three islands called for the government to use the Environmental Protection Fund to buy what was listed at the time, the $6.95 million plot, and save it from development. Well, again, as we talked about with Asher and Badir, in this part of the world, we can reach out and touch our elected officials. It just so happened that our elected officials were in the sister islands of Cayman Brac as part of their annual trip to the sister islands, where they hosted a cabinet meeting and arguably a caucus meeting if traditions were maintained. So all of the government were in the sister islands at the time as this social media storm was taking place. And clearly the government not only heard you, but decided to act on it by moving to acquire this tract of land. So a couple of thoughts. The first one jumps off the page at me. We can't get a strategic policy statement or a presentation of a budget because the government are still grappling with the excessive spending of the last administration that has us forecast to end 2025 in deficit. Likewise, in 2026, with a deficit, that means in the red, not in the black, not in the surplus, but really with our back up against the wall. But yet, somehow or the other, we can find time for $5.5 million to buy some land. And where's the land? At the top of the bluff, not beach land, where, again, many people say public land for beach access for Caymanians and residents are drying up and being replaced by modern development, whether it be in Grand Cayman or the sister islands, and certainly Little Cayman. Don't even get me started on Little Cayman and the private interest that seems to have taken over on Little Cayman. But the government have time for a 125-acre plot. Personally, I like the lot. Personally, I was a little concerned when it came up on the open market. Personally, I was concerned that, yes, if it was bought for development, then the landmark, particularly of the lighthouse, would be leveled and condos or hotels or something, some monstrosity would be placed there, and we would lose the natural, wonderful feel of the bluff. Personally, I didn't like that. And I was hoping the government or, some interested party would find a way to preserve things in its natural state, and the government did. Do I believe raiding the Environmental Protection Fund to buy this particular tract of land was a priority or the best use of funds? I guess the jury's out. It's 50-50 either way you look at it. But one thing is for certain, Home Affairs Minister Nicholas DaCosta has confirmed that the contracts regarding the purchase were exchanged on Friday evening last at an event on the BRAC to mark the launch of the first 100 days in office report of the new Coalition for Caymanian Government. And again, the new cabinet also held a meeting on the island. Minister DaCosta revealed that the government had been working for several weeks before the sale was made public to buy the property. And in a social media post, the Premier, Honorable Andre Ebanks, said that purchasing the land was a result of excellent teamwork by the coalition. Now, the full details of the purchase have yet to be revealed, but the confirmation that government was buying the land in order to protect it from development was widely welcomed across social media. And again, I have to say I don't disagree with that. It's nice that the government stepped in. It's nice that we have such a significant piece of property, one of arguably the most beautiful pieces of property at the very tip top of the bluff that could have been destroyed. And again, another ghastly building or buildings, taking its place, removing Mother Nature. Again, the impact on nature trails, the indigenous flora and fauna that make up the BRAC. It's important that we preserve that. I'm glad to see it. There has been a train of thought percolating with government for many years that whilst in the Cayman Islands, we seem to have gone towards the whole metropolitan big city feel. Arguably, this has been brought on by design by Caymanians themselves, who made one too many trips to Florida and elsewhere and thought, wouldn't it be nice if we had, mega structures in the Cayman Islands? And wouldn't it be nice if we had multiple lane highways in the Cayman Islands? And wouldn't it be nice, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And that's where we got to in Grand Cayman, to the point where, as I said with our guest today, there is no more bush. There is no more open land. We seem to be developing every square inch. And has it all been good? The jury's out on that. But in the Sister Islands context, we have an opportunity to develop an entirely different brand of tourism, specifically ecotourism. And I know we're trying to do it in Cayman sort of after the fact. Again, I think that horse has left the barn, and ecotourism is, it's a foregone idea. You can't go backwards. You can forget it in Grand Cayman, but you can make it happen in Cayman Brac. You could, at one stage, make it happen on Little Cayman, but as I said, don't get me started there, because much of what was free nature land has been picked up and is now sitting in foreign hands. Will they leave it the same? Probably not. Will they seek to develop it? Probably. And will we have any say in it? Probably not. But in Cayman Brac, we still have the opportunity. So maybe this latest acquisition could be a step in the right direction. We'll have to wait and see what Tourism Minister Gary Reddy has to say. Will we be seeking to further this notion of ecotourism and using the BRAC as an ecotourism destination to attract a different type of tourist? We have the opportunity. Do we have the political will to get us there? All of that remains to be seen. But without a doubt, $5.5 million of the public purse money has been spent. We don't know if it came from the environmental impact or the Environmental Protection Fund, or if it came out of core government revenues. Again, those details still have yet to make the public realm. I'm sure we'll learn about it in time. But what we do know for certain is the government of the Cayman Islands are now the proud owners of 125 acres. When I say the government, the people of the Cayman Islands are now the proud owners of 125 acres of historic and raw land on Cayman Brac, the lighthouse on the bluff, and I think that's a good thing. 29 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock, and that's all the time we have for you today. Again, I want to thank our guests, Asher Lopez and Badir Awe, for being in studios and sharing with us their encouraging stories. And thank you, the listening audience, for choosing to tune in each and every weekday for more Straight Talk that airs 4:30 to 6:30. Continue to keep a look on your social media and our updates for shows coming up the rest of this week. I'm your host, Austin Harris, saying thank you for being with us. Hope you have yourself a wonderful evening, and see you tomorrow for more Straight Talk here on Bobo 103.1 FM.
The home of the BBC World Service, the most trusted news source in the world. This is Bobo 103.1. The following commercial messages are brought to you exclusively by Stingray Media.
At Polar Bear Air Conditioning, we believe in helping you to avoid costly mistakes and replacements. That's why we offer a quarterly maintenance program at a discounted price. You'll receive a 10% discount on all repairs, accessories, and services. Priority front-of-the-line customer status, reminders of your service, and no overtime rate for after-hours calls. Why not save money and avoid hassle with Polar Bear Air Conditioning? Need service now? Book our AC special for just $99. Book the next available technician at polarbear.ky. That's polarbear.ky.
Have your engine driving like never before with Pure 93, the highest pure octane fuel in Cayman, and available exclusively at Rubis service stations. Pure 93 protects against engine knock, restores lost power and acceleration, cleans fuel injectors, intake valves, removes engine deposits, improves your fuel economy, and it meets international specification requirements for your car. Fill up with Pure 93 now and keep your engine running like new. Fuel the difference with Pure 93, available exclusively at Rubis.
Visit Healthcare Pharmacy's second location in Governor Square, servicing West Bay and the 7 Mile Beach Corridor with a care and professionalism you have come to expect from Healthcare Pharmacy. Healthcare Pharmacy in Governor Square also stocks a huge selection of Hallmark and shoebox greeting cards, vitamins, sunblock, last minute, and everyday needs. To refill and transfer your prescriptions, simply WhatsApp 329-7313 or visit healthcarepharmacy.ky or drop by Monday to Saturday from 9 till 6.
Hello, pet parents. We're Cayman Vets, Cayman's most advanced veterinary clinic providing quality care and services. We are committed to being your pet's advocate and friend, offering a lifetime of care. From vaccinations and wellness checks to more advanced surgical procedures, complicated medical concerns, and emergency care on demand. For more information about us or to get in touch, please visit caymanvets.com. Cayman Vets, where compassion meets excellence.
At Priced Right, spending less on everyday products is easy.
Spend less on office supplies, tools, and automotive products.
Spend less on groceries, fresh produce, and meat.
Spend less on electronics, TVs, and speakers.
Spend less on home furnishings, beauty products, and apparel.
At Priced Right, we believe you can live better for less.
To start saving, visit us at the Airport Center in Georgetown or at Republics Plaza in West Bay.
For more info, visit pricedright.ky. Live better for less at Priced Right.
Drinking water is vital to our health. At Cayman Water, we use reverse osmosis desalination to ensure safe drinking water. A semi-permeable membrane allows fresh water to pass through, blocking out contaminants. Then, we finish with a post-treatment process and conduct frequent extensive testing to ensure that you get healthy drinking water with an average pH of 7. Not only is water out of your tap safe to drink, it's approximately 400 times less expensive than bottled water. Help to reduce plastics and save our planet. Cayman Water cares. Learn more at caymanwater.com.
This is